Godhead, but he possesses 100% of the divine essence, because the divine essence is the qualitative infinite. It cannot be divided, and so that's the Orthodox Christian understanding.
Do you accept that even in mathematics there are different kind of infinities?
Yeah, I do. There's a quantitative infinite and there's a qualitative.
Right. So the Trinity is who God is, right?
That's right.
Right. The Father is not Trinity. That's right as well, right?
Not full Trinity. That's correct.
Right. So the Father is part of the Trinity.
That is correct.
So if the Trinity is God, the Father is not God, based on that definition.
Say again?
Because God is the Trinity.
That is correct.
Yeah. Because the Father is not the Trinity, he cannot be God, using that definition.
You have to be careful how you define your terms. You have to be nuanced in how you define your terminology. If by God you mean the entirety of that which God is, then no, the Father is not the totality of all that God is. The Son is not the totality of all that God is, and the Spirit is not the totality of all that God is. Each of the three persons together is individually a third of the Trinity. Nonetheless, each possesses 100% of that which makes God God, namely the divine quality, essence, attributes, prerogatives.
So you're again affirming that the Father is like 1/3 of the Trinity, which is God.
The Father is a third of the Trinity, that's correct.
Yeah. No, Trinity is God, that's what you define. I mean, if I had to ask you how many gods do you believe in, you'd certainly say one God, right? Okay. How many one gods do you believe in? One God or more than one God?
I believe in one God.
Right. The Father is not that one God, is what I asked you before, and this is what I want you to clarify. Because if there is only one God, is that the Father?
The Father is a third. So you've got two senses in which you use the word God, and so you have to be careful as to define what sense you mean the term in.
We have two definitions of God.
There's two senses of which you're using the term here, and
now, are you defining the word God differently in different times?
There's two different senses, and I'm going to explain to you what those senses are. We believe in one. So if by God you mean the triune Godhead, the Trinity, then the Father, Son, and Spirit are each 1/3 of that. If by God you mean possessing the divine qualities, that which makes God God, then you have then that's another definition of God. And Christ is 100% of that. It possesses 100% of that which makes God God. So he participates fully in the divine essence, not in a third of the divine essence or 3/4 of the divine essence, but in 100% of the divine essence.
In your definition, you can have, say, 1 million persons, and still that can be one God. So, for example, we can have another person called the daughter of God, having all the divine attributes of God, and still they can be one God, because one God is the totality. So within this totality, at the moment you have 3 persons, right? So there could be 4 persons, there could be 5 persons, there could be zillions of persons, but ultimately that totality is one God. Yeah? So that's one definition. But when you talk about individual members, you don't use the same definition of God, you use a different definition of God in that sense. They possess divine attributes, prerogatives, qualities, as you said. So when we look at all these things, so is Trinity something that, which makes one God, is it by choice or is it forced upon them, these persons? Because the reason why I'm asking is, you have to, clarify your views about one God, because when we find the Father, for example, or the Son, for that matter, each possessing everything that makes God God. Okay? So the Father is not in any way less than God in any way, shape or form. Being God in that sense, but still he's not the totality of God. That means the Godhead is actually bigger, if I can use this term loosely, bigger than the individual members. So when these individual members who are God, by your definition, do they became united by choice, or was it forced on them?
Neither. I mean, there's a false dichotomy. I mean, they are eternally in that relationship. So it's not that they became united; it's that they've eternally been united in the essence of God. The entirety of that which God is not exhausted on the person of Christ. There are 3 divine persons: Father, Son, and Spirit. And the Son is the Son is fully God in the sense that he possesses the fullness of the divine essence and participates in the divine essence. But he's not all that God is not exhausted upon the person of Christ.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. May I ask something about that?
Go ahead.
So you say that what God is not exhausted in the person of Christ.
That's right.
So you're saying that Christ therefore is not fully God.
I know. I think he is fully God.
If he's fully God, he does not exhaust
I said you have to
what is
the two different senses in which I'm speaking.
Okay.
So there's a sense in which he is, if by God you mean the Trinity, well he's not the entire Trinity, so he's not the entire triune Godhead, but he is fully God in the sense that he participates fully in all of that which makes God God, the divine qualities, the divine attributes, the divine prerogatives, the divine essence, and so forth. So there's two different senses, and
I'm trying to understand that. Yeah. So when you say that he participates fully in all divine attributes, does that not mean that he exhausts that which makes him godly? You said he doesn't.
Well, sure. There's also the Father and the Son, and they have different roles within the Trinity. They have different functions within the Trinity. In terms of the divine attributes, these are fully possessed by the Son, fully possessed by the Father, fully possessed by the Son. Nonetheless, the Father, Son, and Spirit are distinctive personalities who are not interchangeable. And in the person of Christ, you don't have the fullness of the Trinity. You have the fullness of the divine substance, the divine essence. You cannot divide something which is qualitatively infinite.
So Christ does not exhaust that which is God, right? So that which is God has something other than Christ.
Say again?
Has something other than Christ. That which is God includes other than Christ.
That which makes God is the divine attributes.
God includes other than Christ.
Again, you're using the term. There's two different senses in which the term can be used, and so you have to be careful in how you define your terms.
So, in the sense that you were speaking about Christ not exhausting divinity, in that sense, divinity includes other than Christ.
Again, you have to define what you mean.
I'm speaking in whatever definition you have.
So, again, there's two ways in which the word divinity is used, right? There's the possession of the divine qualities, the divine attributes, omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence, and so on, benevolence, all these are divine qualities and attributes. The Son possesses those in the fullest sense of the word. But the Son does not, in the person of Christ, you don't find the Spirit in the Father, because the Son is one of those three persons. So in one sense, the Son can be said to be a third of God, in one sense. In another sense, he is 100% God.
So there is a sense in which God is divisible.
Sorry?
So there is a sense in which God...
There is a sense, and it's not...
There's a sense in which God is divisible.
That is the orthodox historical understanding of the Trinity.
It's a heresy.
It's not. No, it's a heresy if you divide the divine essence, which I don't do.
Say Jesus is a third of God is a heresy.
In one sense, it is.
In any sense.
It's a sense. It's a heresy if by God you mean the divine essence. If you divide the divine essence, that is indeed the heresy of partialism.
I mean it by the definitions of traditional Orthodox Christianity, the creeds of Athanasius.
Yeah, I've read the Athanasian Creed. I'm very familiar with church history.
And the language you use, maybe it's just the language you use, veers off occasionally into heresy.
It doesn't.
But hey, this is Speaker's Corner. It doesn't really matter.
It's okay. We're not interested in identifying one's belief as a heretical or orthodox. It's the concept. Is this concept coherent or not? Because what I find is, I still don't understand how you have each person possessing the fullness of God. It's not one God. Because you have one God, the Father, and one God, the Son, and one God, the Holy Spirit. Why do you then say that's not three gods, but that's one God, when clearly each member is clearly one God?
See, you're pitching a false dichotomy to me. You're asking, so if I say that the fullness of all that God is exhausted on the Son, then that would be tritheism, because then you have the Father, Son, and Spirit each fully exhausting all that God is. That would be tritheism. If, on the other hand, you say that each possesses only a third of the divine essence, that would be partialism, both of which are heresies.
Just to clarify, what you appear to be saying is that God has parts, okay, in some sense. And you're saying that the parts constitute the three members. Maybe the question is about the nature of what you mean by persons, okay? Maybe that's the question. you're saying there are three persons, and each of them partake fully in the divine attributes, the subjects, but they do not exhaust divinity individually. None of the individual persons exhaust divinity.
They do in one sense, but not in another.
Right, and the sense in which they do exhaust divinity, if you have understood it right, is that they all possess the divine attribute, right? The essential divine
That's
attribute.
correct.
So the sense in which they do not,
Sorry again?
the sense in which they do not exhaust divinity is something that escapes us.
Okay, let me
And that seems to reside in what differentiates one person from another, perhaps.
So, said multiple times, I don't know why you don't get this.
Well, maybe we are just obtuse, but let's carry on.
Yeah, possibly. In the person of the Son, you don't find the Father and Spirit. Because the Son is 1/3 of the Trinity.
No, you see, that's not insufficient. The reason why it's insufficient is we are trying to distinguish, we are trying to understand what it is that distinguishes the Father and Spirit from the Son. That's what we're trying to understand. We are trying to understand whether there's any distinction.